Hello, I'm Lori Bossum of A Balanced Life, South Carolina. Thanks for taking a look at the video. As a passionate therapist of close to 20 years, I really get how hard it is to make the decision to seek help. My bet is that you've tried everything under the sun to make things better, but nothing has worked, or maybe it hasn't worked in the long run. Typically, when I talk to somebody for the very first time, they're suffering, they're vulnerable, and they're pretty apprehensive. One of the first things that we focus on is helping them to identify and take some small behavioral steps to feel more confident and in control. I think that by applying these same concepts to the step of finding a therapist that's a good fit for you could really be valuable and possibly even help you jumpstart the therapy process. Now, know that not all therapists are alike, and if your first choice doesn't work out, there are really a lot of options out there. Each of us has our own personality, our own quirks, and style of helping. None of us has a magic wand or just the one thing that's going to make you better instantly. However, the vast majority of us are kind, compassionate folks who are really very invested in helping you. The criteria that I'll cover is also available as a link on the website. I know that if you learn and apply this information, you will be better, able to make a conscious, more informed decision when interviewing and eventually hiring a therapist. Know that this is not an exhaustive list, but rather just a jumping off point, a place to begin to help you find your way. Make sure that you're hiring a qualified licensed therapist. This basically means that the therapist has met educational and experiential criteria needed to practice independently. For me, the practice and art of therapy is a lifelong venture, one that I take very seriously and with much consideration into the methods that are proven to work best for the people I serve. Licensed therapists include clinical social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, licensed marital and family therapists. You can initially find this information either in a therapist's website or in a search on a site like psychologytoday.com. Most licensed therapists also have their license displayed in their office. Do you like the therapist? Although this is subjective criterion, like when we gravitate to certain people as friends and not others, research has shown that this is a very important element in determining positive outcomes in therapy. You should be able to determine this after a few therapy sessions. If you don't feel a connection, talk with your therapist about it. The vast majority of therapists I know are very open and invested in helping you find a therapist that will best suit your needs. Do you trust that your therapist is intelligent? Therapists can vary in this area. You want to feel comfortable and confident that the person you work with has the intelligence, skill, and mastery to guide you through and help you accomplish your goals. The best therapists demonstrate a balance of intellectual, emotional, and social intelligence. Intelligence can correlate strongly with respect and trust in the therapeutic session. Does your therapist understand and respect your lifestyle? Although it's not essential that your therapist's lifestyle and life choices are the same as yours, it is very important that they demonstrate a level of understanding and respect for the way you live your life. A fundamental part of therapy is helping people uncover and develop goals and solutions that are in line with their individual principles and values. In essence, a part of therapy is learning to speak your language. Is your therapist a technician or specialist? Technicians, also called generalists, draw from a range of treatment options, often in a hit or miss fashion. Typically, technicians don't have mastery of or in-depth postgraduate training in any one specific area. Specialists have a more narrow focus and have considerable postgraduate training and knowledge in specific areas. They follow proven, systematic guidelines to help people achieve their desired outcomes in a time-limited manner. For example, I specialize in helping people who struggle with anxiety and/or depression. I've received extensive, in-depth postgraduate training in the field of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is considered to be the gold standard of treatment for these problems. Some red flags in therapy would include any form of exploitation, disrespect. This is always inappropriate in the therapy setting. You should not become your therapist's confidant. Your personal beliefs, values, religion, or political affiliation should not be devalued. Your therapist should never demand that you take extreme measures. Your therapist should always be respectful of starting and ending sessions on time, and you shouldn't consistently feel worse after therapy. Here's some final thoughts in closing. Therapists are not all-knowing, perfect people, but rather flawed, vulnerable human beings on their own path. The best therapists are going to own this. We view the process of psychotherapy as a collaborative journey. I kind of think of it in terms of hiking a new and difficult trail with a guide. The guide has hiked the trail many times and can suggest strategies to stay the course and to avoid getting into trouble, ultimately helping you find your way. Please feel free to contact me with any further questions, comments, or to talk with me about the possibility of hiring me as your therapist. I will do my very best to exceed your expectations and to make the journey well worth your time and effort.